Welcome to the orientation for the NECA IBEW Electrical Training Center. We are going to cover an overview of the apprenticeship programs that we offer. We will go over the application process, from application day to the interview, how the ranked list works, and how to submit a competitive application. This is our website, found at nietc.org. There is a lot of good information on here, and we update it regularly. The location on this website that is most pertinent to you is the tab that says Applications. You can click on the Apprenticeship Programs tab in the drop-down menu and find information about whichever program you are interested in. There is also information about the application process and some valuable tips for preparing your application. Please be sure to check the Frequently Asked Questions page as well. Our apprenticeship programs are sponsored by two organizations, NECA, which is the National Electrical Contractors Association, and IBEW Local 48, which is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. All of our contractors are members of NECA, and all of the electricians and apprentices that they hire are union members through IBEW Local 48. We are privately funded through our own resources. This is a private, not-for-profit school. We are affiliated with Mount Hood Community College. All of the classes that you take as an apprentice are registered with Mount Hood at no cost to you. You become a student at the community college, so you have access to their resources as well. There are apprenticeship counselors at Mount Hood who will look at your academic history and work with you to determine if you need to complete any other courses to journey out with your associates. Networking in any industry is important. Renew, the EWMC, and Sisters in Solidarity are very active in the community and foster leadership within the membership of IBEW. All groups meet monthly and participate in volunteer work around the community. They welcome non-apprentices to help in many of their events. Check out their meeting calendars at IBEW48.com. We have a pretty large geographical area. When you are an apprentice in our programs, you are going to obligate yourself to be willing and able to work anywhere in our jurisdiction. We recommend removing any barriers that could impede your attendance, such as transportation, childcare, or elder care issues. There is a strong partnership between NECA and the IBEW. NECA contractors agree to hire only IBEW Local 48 members. Likewise, we as IBEW Local 48 agree to show up and wire the project. While much of our work is in the Portland and Vancouver areas, you have to be willing to travel to where the work is being performed. This can be a difficult situation sometimes for apprentices. This may cause some inconveniences, whether it means missing your kids' sport games or social events. As a journey worker, you have more flexibility to choose your job location. As an apprentice, you need to commit to go where you are needed. We train for 3 different electrical licenses. Each program involves on-the-job training and classroom hours. Once accepted into the apprenticeship, you will be placed with an electrical contractor for your on-the-job training, and you will attend classes at our training center on Airport Way in Portland. We strongly encourage you to apply only for the program from which you intend to graduate. The Inside Electrician program is a 5-year program, and it is also known as the Commercial Industrial program. The program requires completion of 8,000 hours of on-the-job training and 10 terms of school. This program licenses you to do any electrical work on the customer side of the utility point of connection. Inside electricians can do all of the wiring on that property, and there is a broad variety of electrical work. This license covers the scope of all the other licenses that we train for. You could be wiring residences, commercial buildings, hospitals, traffic signals, industrial facilities, limited energy systems, as well as systems in the growing fields of solar and wind. The Limited Energy Technician is a 3.5-year program and involves 6,000 on-the-job training hours and 7 terms of school. It is also known as the Low Voltage program. Limited Energy Techs work on sound and communication systems that are 100 volts or less, such as fiber optic, voice and data, nurse call, controls, access control, fire alarm, and security. The Limited Residential program is a 2.5-year program, comprised of 4,000 hours of on-the-job training and 5 terms of school. This program covers residences up to 3 stories above grade. This includes single or multifamily residences, apartments, hotels, and motels. You could be wiring new houses in a housing development, or remodeling or repairing wiring on existing homes. The license covers all electrical systems within the home, the incoming service, lighting, receptacles, appliances, and any low-voltage communication systems. There is a residential to inside upgrade program. So if you carry a residential electrician license, there is a path to upgrade your license to a commercial license. You will need to work 2 years as a journey level and complete 2 terms of school on your own cost at the training center. You will then need to apply for and get accepted into the inside program. Upon acceptance, you will be given 4,000 hours of credit when placed in that program. This video will give you some visuals of the scope of work of the 3 different licenses.
Thanks for showing your interest in our electrical apprenticeship program. We train for 3 different licenses at our training center on Airport Way in Portland, Oregon. This video will give you an insight into the scope of work each of the licenses we train for, as well as allow you to meet some of the great workforce that are proud to be part of NECA and IBEW Local 48.
Residential electricians perform all wiring in any residence 3 stories or less. This could be wiring new homes, additions or remodels, or performing repair work on existing homes.
What I like about being an electrician is the end result. After you roughen a house, trim it out, you see all the lights, you see everything turn on. It's a pretty rewarding feeling. I chose to be an electrician because of the good pay and good benefits. I served 4 years in the United States Marine Corps. I think it's every military person's fears when they're getting out. What am I going to do? How am I going to put food on the table? I was glad I was able to get in this program because I get straight to work. I don't have to miss work to go to school. I'm able to do both. We wire our whole house. We do a whole new service. But at the end of the day, when you flick the switch or you turn on the breaker, you turn on the panel, everything has current flowing through it. You got power at the outlets, lights, the switches. I think that's a pretty cool feeling. And what I find challenging is school. I was never a person to go to school. So now that we have to go to school and it's required, I have to put in the time and effort to be able to pass my classes. I go to school 1 day a week and I work the rest of the week. The day I'm in school, we start at 7 a.m. finished at 3:30 p.m. So it's basically like a full work day. You're in the class, doing homework, doing reviews, taking quizzes. You go home, you're expected to finish the homework online, finish the homework quizzes, you come back to class the next week. First thing you guys do is do review, take another test. When I'm in school, I spend a lot of time weekends doing homework reviews, so I have not much time to be social and go out with friends and family. And that's a sacrifice to me because I'm a pretty social guy. I like to go out with friends, I like to go out with family. But those 3 months I'm in school, I try to keep it to myself and focus on school. By the time I finish school, I'm not gonna have no debt. Look at the average debt a college person gets out of college with. It's crazy. And just to get out of college to make, what, 40, 50,000? Here as an electrician with the union, if you work 40 hours a week, 10 months out of the year, with benefits, you're making close to 125,000 a year, which is crazy for not having a college degree. So it's really worth it.
Limited energy techs install or repair low-voltage communication systems such as telephone and data, fiber optics, nurse call, access control, and security. The majority of their work is in a commercial setting.
I like being a part of a greater thing, of working with my friends. I like working with my hands and my body and constantly using my brain and being physical at work. On this project, we're doing all of the low voltage data, and we've been creating pathway, we've been pulling cable. So I wake up at 4:30 and it's a long drive, so I get here around 6:15. We come in and we start work at 7, we do stretch and flex, and then we all hit the ground running. So I am a 5-foot female, and I'm working with 6-foot plus males. A challenge that I face is trying to keep up with them and carry these 10, 12-foot ladders all by myself, and just really trying to know what I can handle and ask my coworkers for help when I need it. The rewards are walking away from a job site and being like, wow, we pulled all the cable for that, we did all of the voice and data for that, and then years down the road when you're driving down the freeway, you can be like, yeah, I did that building, that building, we did this. It's super cool. What I liked about attending school was being able to see all of my classmates from other job sites and other companies. At work, you're just pulling cable, terminating jacks, doing the things, but at school you learn the why and the about of it. I did have to make some sacrifices while in the apprenticeship. I had to cut back on friend time and social hours and just really hunkering down and focusing on getting my schoolwork done and studying so I was prepared for the next tests. I was 18 when I got into the apprenticeship program, and before that I had just graduated high school and I was dabbling in college because that's what you're supposed to do after high school, and I didn't really know what I wanted to be, and my dad, who's in the trades, had suggested to me to try looking into the trades. And I am 5 years later and madly fallen in love with the trades and would never look back for the life of it.
Inside electricians primarily work in commercial or industrial environments, although their license allows them to do residential and limited energy work as well. This could be office buildings, supermarkets, water treatment plants, hospitals, traffic signals, light rail, bridges, and many more settings.
So one thing we're going to be doing today is de-energizing the system to make sure there's no voltage on the system. We have to calculate our personal protective equipment regarding the calorie suits, our distance for danger tape, and after we get all that stuff figured out, we go ahead and do our lockout tagout to protect ourselves to make sure it's locked or turned off. I chose this industry because I wanted a challenging job. I enjoy the part of going in and not really knowing what you're going to do that day. I got in the program after being a material handler for 2.5 years. Material handler is an entry-level position. They can get out there on the job site and see if it's actually what they want to do in the future. Challenges for me are figuring out pipe bending, being able to figure out the degrees, figuring out how you can wiggle pipes through a tight area is really cool to be able to see how that training from the training center helps you in the field. So at the training center, they have different scenarios throughout the classrooms. The panels that we can see hands-on and learn being able to see stuff, not just out of a book. Each week for homework, I spend a lot of time, probably about 10 to 20 hours a week. You have to keep your grades up to stay in the program. Being an electrician, it's a sense of security, having a good job to be able to support for my family. In 10 years, I see myself probably being in a foreman position. What I like about the electrical trade is the challenge of all the different aspects of electrical work, from road work to residential work. You have your commercial, industrial, pipe bending, pulling wires, and having to figure out all these little different aspects of electrical.
Our apprentices receive full scholarship for tuition, books, online courses, and tools valued at over $600, as well as college credit through Mount Hood Community College towards an associate's degree. All apprentices go through a 2-week basic skills training before they are provided their first job assignment, and we provide job placement.
Apprentices spend the majority of their apprenticeship training learning on the job, earning good wages and benefits. They also spend about 20 days out of the year in the classroom, gaining the related classroom instruction.
Our apprentices learn from the best, whether it's from the seasoned journey level workers out on the job site or at our state-of-the-art training facility, where our high-caliber instructors come from the field and also attend world-class training at our National Training Institute at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor.
Attend an orientation on the third Tuesday of each month at our training center from 4 to 5 p.m.
You really want to be an electrician. It's a great career. You're going to love it.
Go to nietc.org to learn more. Current apprentice and journey level wages for the 3 licenses can be found on our website, nietc.org. You can see that the wages are related to the length of the program. Wage progression is similar for all of the programs. Apprentices typically receive a re-rate every 6 to 9 months. The Inside program starts apprentices off at 40% of journey level rate. They then get a 5 to 10% increase after every 1,000 or 1,500 hours of on-the-job training. The Limited Energy program is similar. It starts out at 50% of journey level rate, with wage increases about every 750 hours. The limited residential program starts out at 55% of journey level rate, with a wage increase every 750 hours. Apprenticeships are a little unique compared to a regular job. You come in entry level and are expected and obligated to progress through the program until you journey out. If you are not advancing and progressing, then you will be canceled from the program. We are a drug-free industry, and you will be drug tested throughout your career. When you come into the program as a new apprentice, you will take a pre-employment drug test. If you fail that drug test, you are automatically canceled from the program. If you want to become an electrician, you will need to complete a drug treatment program and start the process over. We have random drug testing. This applies to the entire industry and is done on a random basis. If you fail a drug test within the first year of your apprenticeship, you are automatically canceled from the program. You will be drug tested if you are involved in an on-the-job accident or injury. Marijuana, including medical marijuana, is not permitted, and you can fail a drug test for taking someone else's prescription drugs. This is industry-wide, very commonplace, and is taken very seriously. You are provided $50 compensation for a negative, not-for-cause test result. There are no questions regarding felonies on the application or at the interview. We will run a background check once you are accepted so that we can determine your job assignment, as some customers require a security clearance. We use this information to make sure that you meet the customer's employability requirement. We do not share the information with anyone. Credit for prior experience may be granted if you have a previous experience in an equivalent electrical apprenticeship. You may not necessarily get hour-for-hour credit. It is up to you to request a performance evaluation and review after you pass your aptitude test. Otherwise, your wages and class placement will be based upon assumption of zero experience. These are the steps for the application process. Applicants fill out an application in person during an open application period. The application is 2 pages long and must be filled out on site. Application openings and times are updated on our website at least 30 days in advance. If you apply and qualify for the inside or limited energy programs, you will be taking an aptitude test the following month. If you pass the aptitude test, you will be scheduled for an interview the month after that. Your interview score will determine your ranking on the list of eligible candidates. As we have apprenticeship positions available, we will pull from the ranked list beginning with number 1 in ascending order. A new basic skills class is formed with these candidates. You will find a lot of information on our website, nietc.org. Click on Applications, and a drop-down menu will give you some options. The Apprenticeship Programs tab will list program information and application dates. The Preparing to Apply tab will give you a lot of information to prepare for each step of the application process. Be sure to check out the FAQ section, as most questions can be answered there, eliminating a need to call the training center. To qualify for the Inside Electrician and Limited Energy Technician programs, you need to meet the GED or GPA requirement as well as the math requirement. The minimum requirements for the Inside and Limited Energy programs are identical. You need to have graduated either high school or college from an accredited school with a minimum of a 2.0 GPA verified by transcripts, or have a GED with the minimum score shown on the following slide. It is possible to raise your GPA by taking college classes, and we suggest taking trade-related or math classes. This slide lists the qualifying GED score necessary for meeting the requirement for the Inside and Limited Energy programs. There are a number of ways in which you can meet the math requirement for the Inside Electrician and Limited Energy Technician programs. Please note that only GED tests taken after January 2014 may be used to meet the math requirement. If you took your GED prior to 2014, you will need to meet the math requirement by one of the other methods. If you are not able to obtain a placement test from a community college that uses AccuPlacer or Compass, we will accept ALEC test results if you include a letter from the college indicating that you would place into Math 95 or higher. To qualify for the Limited Residential Electrician program, you need to submit transcripts showing that you are a high school or college graduate or have a GED with the minimum score shown here. These are the ways in which you can meet the math requirement for the limited residential electrician program. A certificate of completion from the online tech math class will satisfy the math requirements for all of our programs. This class is good for several reasons. It satisfies the math requirement. It is good review for the algebra section of the aptitude test. And the class will help you build a strong foundation in math, which will help you succeed in our programs which are heavily math-driven. The class starts off with whole numbers and is self-paced as it advances through Boolean algebra fundamentals. Be sure to leave yourself time to complete the class before the application opening closes. It does take some time to enroll in the class, as they need to mail you a textbook and a calculator. Our national office has a website called electricprep.com. This website offers courses to help prepare applicants. They sometimes have a free class called The Work of an Electrician, which provides insight into daily life in the industry. When you come in to apply, you will need a photo ID. There is an application fee of $30 for the Inside Electrician and Limited Energy programs. You can apply for a fee waiver if your income is below 150% of the federal poverty guidelines, or by showing a food assistance card. You will need to bring all supporting documentation showing that you meet the requirements at the time that you apply. Do not mail or fax anything into the training center. Portfolio items are not accepted at the time of application. Bring these to your interview instead. You need to apply in person and fill out the application on site and attach documentation showing that you meet the requirements. You may not send in additional qualifying documentation once you have turned in your application. If your application is incomplete, it will be closed and you will need to wait until the next application opening to reapply. If you are reapplying, you will need to submit new qualifying documentation. If you are applying in the summer months, please take into account that many schools are closed and you may need to contact the school district for your transcripts. If your school is no longer in existence, then you will need to contact that school district and try to get a copy of your transcript. If you are unable, then you will have to take a GED test. You must meet all of the requirements at the time that you apply and provide that documentation. It is up to you to make sure that you meet all of these requirements and provide the correct documentation. If the documentation is not provided at the time of applying, your application will be closed and you will need to reapply. It is important that you understand what is required and make sure that you meet those requirements. If your transcript lists math at a higher level than algebra, but does not reflect that you have completed a year of algebra with a C or better, your application will be closed. The recommendation is to meet the math requirement by one of the other methods. Transcripts must be from an accredited school. If you are homeschooled, you will need to take a GED test. If you have a foreign transcript, it must be translated and notarized by an accredited agency, and you will need to either take a math placement test, a college algebra class, or the tech math class. The aptitude test is only required for the Inside Electrician and the Limited Energy programs. You will receive a sample test along with your testing date, and there are links on our website to free online resources for practice. There are 2 sections, reading comprehension and algebra. You need to score at least a 5 out of a 9-point scale. You need to pass both sections. Tests are scored off-site at a testing agency. The training center receives back only the score, not the tests themselves. That score is good for 2 years. If you fail, you must wait 6 months before you can reapply and retest. If you are applying for the limited residential program and have turned in a qualifying application, you will be scheduled for your interview. See our website for interview tips. If you are applying for the Inside Electrician or Limited Energy Technician program, have turned in a qualifying application, and have received a qualifying score on the aptitude test, you will be scheduled for an interview. The interview panel is made up of about 4 to 10 members from NECA, IBEW 48, and the Training Center. They will review your math and science grades and any portfolio items you bring with you that document experience, education, and training. This is a competitive program. Everyone who qualifies for an interview has met the minimum requirements. These requirements are just a minimum. The interview committee will assess additional attributes such as past trade experience and education. The interviewers will ask you a series of questions to assess your interest and knowledge of the industry. Each interviewer will score you, and that score is then averaged. Your final score determines your rank on the list of eligible candidates. If you would like experience and education to be assessed at your interview, we suggest bringing in a portfolio. Here are some ideas of what to include. The committee is looking for individuals who will honor the NECA IBEW Code of Excellence. They will consider your work experience. Is it related to construction? If your work history is not trade-related, were you a good employee? Do you have a lengthy employment history with one employer? Do you have quality letters of recommendation from your employers? They will also consider hands-on hobbies or DIY projects or volunteer work with a construction-focused group such as Habitat for Humanity. They will take notice of your education and training, such as trade-related classes or pre-apprenticeships. Thousands of dollars are invested in each of our apprentices. Our apprenticeship programs are lengthy, and we look for individuals who are going to commit and complete the program. After you interview, you will receive a letter that tells you your rank. When we receive enough requests for new apprentices from our contractors to start a new class, we will pull that number of ranked candidates off of the list, beginning with number 1. Everyone on the list will then move down the list by that number. Your rank is also going to change whenever we interview more applicants. You are most likely going to move up the list if people score and rank better than you. If you know that we have taken in new classes or have interviewed more applicants, you can contact the front office to find out your updated rank. There is no way to look up your rank online. Once you are on the ranked list, your score is good for 2 years. You cannot reapply during that 2-year period. If you do not rank well, you may work on qualifying for a re-interview. Essentially, you improve your qualifications and return as a better candidate. This slide explains how to qualify for a re-interview. You would submit a re-interview request form and attach documentation that you have improved your qualifications in one of the 2 ways. Your request will be reviewed, and if it is accepted, you will be placed in the next group of interviewees. If you have worked the 1,000 hours in a trade-related field, it is a good idea to get a letter of recommendation from that employer and bring an updated resume. If you have no construction experience, gaining employment-related experience will be more beneficial than taking classes. We bring in new apprentices based on the economy. We only bring in as many apprentices as we can employ on a close to full-time basis. We don't bring people in if we don't have need. We try to provide at least 2 weeks' notice. Please be sure to inform us of any changes to your address or phone number. If you don't respond to our letter or call inviting you to the next class, your application will be closed and you will be removed from the list. You will attend a basic skills class and then you will be assigned to your employer. The basic skills class is 10 days long. It is still part of the application process. After being evaluated by transcripts, experience, and the interview, applicants are then evaluated in basic skills class to see if they can perform the work of an electrical worker. The class involves safety training, lift training, climbing ladders, using tools, electrical theory, and electrical code. During that 2 weeks, applicants are evaluated on preparedness, punctuality and attendance, ability to pass the drug test, comprehend the material, and work with their hands. Applicants may be removed from the program for a number of reasons, such as failing the drug screening, being late or unprepared for class, being absent, or lacking a mechanical aptitude or ability to comprehend the curriculum. We want to be sure that we are investing our training dollars in the very best applicants. It is important to remember that there is no paid compensation for those 2 weeks, and it will most likely take 1 week to receive your first paycheck once your employment begins. There is a list of tools in our agreement with Local 48 that all apprentices and journey workers must have in their toolkit. We provide our apprentices with all of the tools they need to begin work. We know that students are coming in here for 2 weeks without pay, and that they are going to need to buy work boots, rain gear, and work clothing. The tool scholarship is how we ensure that building a toolkit is not a barrier to someone beginning a solid career. Upon successful completion of basic skills class, apprentices are assigned to an employer. Generally, apprentices cannot be requested by name by a specific employer. If you currently work for an electrical contractor as a material handler, we will make a courtesy call to the employer during your basic skills class to inquire if they would like to keep you on as an apprentice. If not, we will assign you to another contractor. After working for about 3 months, you will begin apprenticeship classes. This allows you to build up work hours so that your health benefits kick in. You will receive a letter in the mail with the day that you will be attending class. You must notify your employer of your schedule once you receive that letter. It is part of your apprenticeship, so instead of going to work that day, you will come to school that day. The employers know this and expect this. You do not get paid while you are in school, so that is something to consider when you are planning your budget. Apprentices do receive a $300 check for every term that they complete, up to $600 a year, to help alleviate the burden of missing wages. Ultimately, it's fair to expect that you'll only get paid 32 hours a week for half the year, provided that your employer is able to offer you that many hours. Most apprentices work full-time. However, due to the nature of construction and the economy, we cannot guarantee 40 hours of work a week, which is why we try to instill in our apprentices the importance of building a savings account for those times when the economy slows down. School hours are counted as related classroom instruction, not on-the-job training hours. Apprentices receive an automatic scholarship for tuition, books, and tools. Essentially, school for you is free, as long as you are in good standing at school and at work. We pay for your apprenticeship all the way through, and after you journey out, there is a year-for-year repayment contract. The contract states that once you graduate, you will continue to work in the trade for a NECA contractor who pays into the training fund for every hour that you work for them as a journey worker. This is how our training fund stays funded. Every year that you have worked for a contractor as a journey worker, you have repaid a year of your training. If you move to a different region after you graduate, you will be in compliance as long as you work for a NECA contractor who pays into that area's training fund. The 5-year inside program is a 10-year commitment. The 3.5-year limited energy program is a 7-year commitment, and the 2.5-year residential program is a 5-year commitment. If you choose to leave before in-kind repayment is complete, you may repay your unpaid scholarship amount, which is currently valued at $6,000 per year. Our intent is to train our future workforce, not to sell tuition bills. Our goal is to support apprentices into journey level, who will then support NECA contractors and the IBEW, and become mentors to train the next wave of apprentices. Apprentices attend 2 alternating 10 or 11-week terms of school each year. School is 1 day a week, so you will be in school for 21 days of the year. It is critical that you plan any vacations around your school schedule. You are allowed 1 excused absence from school per term, which must be made up on the 1 makeup class that is scheduled per term. There is a $50 fee for the makeup class. If you miss more than 1 class, you will fail the term. As a new apprentice, you are in your probationary period. For the inside program, this is the first 2,000 hours of on-the-job training or your first 2 terms of school, whichever comes first. For the limited energy program, this is the first 1,500 hours of on-the-job training or the first 2 terms of school, whichever comes first. For the residential program, this is the first 1,000 hours or the first term of school, whichever comes first. If you fail a class during your probationary period, you will be canceled from the program and you will need to reapply. If you fail a term once you are beyond your probationary period, you will need to retake the class at your own expense, and your next wage increase will be postponed until you complete the next term. If you fail 2 terms, you will be canceled from the program and will need to reapply. When you are attending school, you will have homework assignments which will require anywhere from 2 to 10 hours of time per week, depending on the class and your aptitude. Homework is online, as well as your work progress reports, so you will need reliable access to a computer and internet connection. We have tutoring for apprentices every Tuesday and Thursday evening, and you may use our computer lab if you need to. Here are some suggestions for building a competitive portfolio that highlights your work experience and aptitude. Industry-related classes are also great to show in your transcripts. If you have never built anything, if you have never used a saw or a hammer or a tape measure, find an industry-related class at a community college or think about completing a pre-apprenticeship program. Electricians do a lot of math, so we do pay attention to the math grades on your transcripts. Trigonometry and algebra are fundamental to the apprenticeship programs. Beginning with a strong foundation in math will help to ensure your success. The best way to get work experience is to work for an electrical contractor. To do electrical work, you need to either be a registered or apprentice or a journey level. But there are jobs within the industry called material handling jobs. Material handlers deliver, haul, and sort materials, as well as clean up job sites. These jobs are in the industry, and you'd be working for an electrical contractor. A well-earned letter of recommendation from a contractor is very valuable. If you cannot find work in the electrical industry, try to find other trade-related experience, whether as a carpenter, a laborer, or a mechanic, something that shows us that you can use tools, work in all kinds of weather conditions, and work hard. Those are qualities that are important to us. This shows us that you are prepared for the hard work of an electrician. Application openings are posted at least 30 days in advance on our website and Facebook page. We take applications on an as-need basis rather than on a set schedule. Be sure to have your transcripts and application portfolio at the ready for when we do post an application opening. To honor our returning veterans, veterans may apply to our apprenticeship programs any day of the year provided they meet the program's minimum qualifications, and the following applies. Minimum requirements must be met, and then the usual timeline will apply: aptitude test, interview, and rank. Thank you for taking the time to do your research and to become knowledgeable about what is required to successfully apply to our apprenticeship programs. We encourage you to attend an information orientation prior to applying, as information occasionally changes. The notes section below this video will be updated with changes as they occur. If you have any questions, please check the FAQ section of Preparing to Apply on the website. Often your question may be answered there and will eliminate the need to call the training center.